Me a moment for the mics.
Let's have our headphones.
No, it's just to listen to the intro.
I was gonna say you'll be fine.
Okay, cool.
All right, intro starting.
You've now tuned in to the Drawing Board Podcast, a powerful, thought-provoking discussion where we talk about family, relationships, ministry, community, and career. Let's see what exciting guests we have on our show today. You've now tuned in to the...
Oops.
That's okay. Again, welcome everybody to the Drawing Board Podcast where we talk about family, relationships, ministry, community, and career. I'll reintroduce them again, but I have some amazing guests on tonight, some very powerful, God-fearing, influential women of God who are business owners in their own right and serving the community in various ways. To my right, I have Miss Tanea Hunter, better known as the Everyday Mentor. How you doing, Tanea?
Doing good.
Great. Welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
Not a problem. Now, you are married to a brother who happens to be involved in the oldest and the coldest fraternity known to man. Brother Hunter, I want to shout you out on here. I could not bring your beautiful bride on without acknowledging you, my bro. 06 to the good bros. All right. So I do want to put out there that the step competition. Okay, I won't bring that up. I won't bring that up. But Gamma Lambda, the Detroit chapter, are the hailing champs. All right.
Just for the step, though.
Yeah. So
what about chapter of the year?
I do know we have been reigning chapter of the year, so we conceded victory to Brother Hunter. Listen, no, I'm joking. We're glad to have you on, Tanea. And to my left, I have Miss Helena Williams. Miss Williams, it's so good to see you again. It seemed like we were just with each other like 2 weeks ago. Yeah, we were. And she is part of the devastating divas of Delta Sigma Theta, the Invincible Inkster chapter, and involved in the Arts and Letters Committee, where I was able and privileged, thank you for the opportunity.
It was awesome.
To come out and we did a meet and greet of the author, which I happen to be the author, and it was also a vision board party.
Yes.
So that's a good model to follow, though, to have something that provokes you to thought, that stirs you spiritually, emotionally,
Definitely.
intellectually, and then go to the books, because I've seen it done other ways where people are venturing through the books and looking for an image that reflects what they feel, as opposed to acknowledging what they feel first and then confirming it with that image.
That was the best part about it.
Yeah.
Because you really stirred people's emotions and you really made them go back to say, hey, what do I need to do to make sure that I can ensure a brighter future for myself? So it really worked out well that way.
It sounded like we went to the drawing board. All right, no. But then you have a business called Elegance Manifested.
I do.
Yeah, and so if you've ever seen, and I put on my post today, it is such a great thing when what you explain to your decorator in your vision, that you are able to take that and manifest it in a way that goes beyond what someone can think, imagine, and dream.
That's right.
Yeah.
It's a blessing to be able to do that because I'm involved in people's life's moments. You know, when you get involved in weddings and baby showers, bridal showers, those things that mean so much to people that they reflect back on so many years later, in pictures. And, you want them to be able to look at that and be able to say, wow, this was beautiful. I remember this moment. So I am blessed to be able to be a part of so many different life moments for people. So, yeah, I love doing what I do.
Absolutely. And then Miss Latasha Chanel Spivey, better known as what? The Clutch Girl. Is that correct?
Yes.
All right, Clutch Girl. Well, tell me, Tasha and I go back, way back into time.
Oh,
Do you realize?
Don't age me.
Yeah. Well, no, I didn't age you like that. I'm sorry. She is so young and vibrant, and these things are true. But as far as us knowing each other, Tasha, we go back about 15 years.
This year will be 15 years.
It'll be 15 years.
And I'm only 20.
And you're only 20. I have been knowing Tasha since she was 5 years old. No, I'm joking. But we have been doing the work of empowering children and family for a long time. For a number of years. And we were part, and I'll say this boldly, I'll say it and I won't step back. I believe we were part of the best Head Start agency
We
in
were.
all of Michigan.
Yes.
You all know I felt the hate coming through. I felt the hate coming through. But you know when we showed up at the citywide at Cobo
Yes.
Hall and you saw us in our Southeast Children and Family
Right.
Development Head Start coats that you wanted to get like us. We were dripping before there was ever a drip
drip.
or a sauce or anything. So big shouts out to all of my people doing great work from Southeast, and to Tasha, to have you on the show is kind of like full circle because
I know, it's amazing.
yeah. So tell me, I know you are into media, into fashion. Like, tell me about
Everything.
how did you get? Now you always were fly. You always dressed really nice. You always made sure your appearance was up. You always were encouraging. Not just women, but particularly those who had become mothers to make sure that they maintain self-care, that they made sure they, didn't come out the house looking like who did it and what for. And tell me about that. How did you get interested in doing media and fashion?
Well, media came about because I was listening to the radio one morning,
Okay.
listening to Mason in the morning. Shout out to Mason, I guess.
All right.
And he was saying, like, what do you want to do with your life? What is it that you want to do? You should want to, whatever it is that you want to do, it should be something you love and you're passionate about and something you wouldn't mind getting a check for. And I'm like, what do I like to do? And I was like, well, I like to talk. I know I can write well, so maybe I should go into broadcast journalism. I mean, I don't mind being seen, be a reporter out there in the streets.
Okay.
So that's how I started the journey into media. But I've always written. Like, that's been something I've done forever. Whatever my thoughts were, I write them down. Like, I got journals and books of just things I wrote. So I decided to go into media and been on this media journey for about 10 years, I'm going to say.
Okay, great. Now let me ask the question as we circle around to Tanea. Now, Tanea, you also impact the lives of children and families, and you are one that's always, I see you putting out there on your Instagram, you say young lady. You make sure particularly that you are addressing young ladies to make sure they raise their self-consciousness, their self-esteem, their self-awareness, how they perceive the world from their lens and not just on how the world perceives them. What led you down that path of empowering or coming to coin yourself, or how did you get the name The Everyday Mentor?
The Everyday Mentor started, unofficially, 2016. I was going through a health challenge. My body was just acting like put it on the grandest display, and I ended up having surgery within a 4-month period. But what happened was I was involved with the network marketing company, and I was going to home parties and just doing things like that. But because of what was going on with my body, I was relegated to home, work, and church. I couldn't fit anything else in. Shared that with the girlfriend. She said, well, my network marketing company is doing media. She said, so why don't you start, getting online, just sharing things that giving tips about parenting and what have you. So I said, okay. But it started out as just like a 2-minute every day, wanting to encourage people on the way to work. And then it evolved into, wait a minute, let me just start putting out some of the lessons my mom taught me, some of the lessons my aunt taught me, some of the lessons the mothers from church taught me, because what I started to see is, because I'm a case manager for those that receive government assistance, I'm starting to see that we don't have the big mamas anymore.
Right.
That's right.
So it's like, even though I'm only 41, I feel like I have a story, I have something I can share, I have something that's been taught and imparted into me. So why not share that with the next young lady who may not know or who may not have that from her mother? And it just kind of evolved into just every day sharing a tip, doing live videos, and just saying something to the young women, because so often we think of mentors as the Lisa Nichols and the Ness Browns of the world. But what about grandma? What about your aunt? What about the beautician? Just the everyday mentor. And that's how it came about, and it's steadily evolving.
Awesome. So the everyday mentor are really like our heroes, the ones who are carrying the wisdom. When I think about church, and I literally get this image, we break the bread of life, which is Jesus Christ. He is the bread of life. When I think about the pastors and the preachers that are coming, I almost think about that they're carrying the bread, And, I heard Bishop Jake said that Christianity can be coined to one beggar telling the other beggar where they found the bread. Yeah. And I thought that was so powerful when you shared that. So I'm going to give this moment, because I feel like we're in that moment. Go ahead. I want you, Tanea, launch right now. There's a young lady listening that needs to hear a motivational motivational piece. And start out, everybody on 3, we're going to say young lady, and then she's going to give us something powerful, okay? Already on 3. 1, 2, 3. Young lady.
Young lady, you have so much to live for. You have so much down on the inside of you, and it doesn't matter what your upbringing was, what you did not see from your mother, what you did not see from your grandfather, from your father, or even if you don't even know your father, God still created you with a purpose. He created you with gifts and talents, and by you surviving everything that you've survived to date thus far, you'll help the next young lady that sees you, because contrary to popular belief, somebody is looking at you. Somebody knows your story. Somebody knows that what you've been through. Somebody knows about the abuse. Somebody knows about the molestation, and they're wondering, how are you still doing what you're doing? How are you still going to school? How are you still working? How are you still raising your child in integrity? How are you still holding your head up? So don't be ashamed of where you came from, because you are no longer there. So allow yourself the freedom to fully be you and to tell your story, because you have value and somebody needs you, because the next young lady is looking.
Awesome. That was powerful. Go ahead. I think we need to give some snaps right there. Yeah, I know. Or we need to, I know y'all out there, somebody just shouted hallelujah. I felt it too. That was awesome. That was powerful. It came from your belly. It came from wisdom. It came from experience. It came from being able to integrate stories of the lives of people we come across, and being able to realize that the answer that you're looking for is in the wisdom of God.
Amen.
And so, Helena, I know when we talk about values, what I felt greatly, you can praise him if you need to. All right, it's okay. Hey, listen, we love God. You can praise him. I know you
Thank
just
you,
released.
Father.
Yeah. So, when we talk about values, we hear the word elegance a lot, but it's one of those things that is not really taught. And so when I thought about your business, and it's called Elegance Manifested, like people can think, oh, that's a very pretty name.
Yeah.
But when we think about elegance, like break that down for me. When God gave you the vision, what did you see?
Oh, wow. You know what? That's an awesome question, because God did give me the vision. And, you know, I told you before that I am a teacher by profession.
Absolutely.
But I'm a decorator by gift.
Okay.
And I'm just so grateful for the gift that God has given me. So even in the midst of teaching and so many things going on in our school district, you know, God kept giving me the picture and the vision of decorating, because it was something that I always wanted to do. And so he told me, and he just basically kind of spoke that word to me, that particular name for my business, because he says that you're going to bring forth elegance into these people's events.
Okay.
So it was pretty much like, not just we're going to go in here and do a little bit of decor, but then you're going to go do a transformation. There's going to be something there different, that there's going to be a piece there with you when you come, that I'm here with you when you come, and that we're going to transform this particular room. We're going to transform this particular event. So in that transformation is where I kind of got that word elegance, you know, and the transforming of the room, so that these people will have something to look back on, to be able to, when they walk into this particular place, to say, oh my God, I wanted to, you know, be able to have that breathtaking moment when they walk in and say, you know, that right there is what I kind of heard, you know, when you walk in, you know, so many times you go into a place, you're like, you know, and there was so many times that, you know, I had walked into places and in different events, and I didn't feel that.
Right.
You know, so I wanted to be able to use this gift that God gave me to be able to have that moment, so that they could have that moment.
So now I'm going to put you on the spot if I could, okay? So I want you to, now everybody listening, I want everybody close your eyes. She's getting ready to give us a picture of something beautiful that, she said, did you hear? She said that, take your breath away type moment, okay? So I want you, we're getting ready, so I'll give you the event, okay? So my daughter just turned 13, right?
Awesome.
So my daughter just turned 13, and she's a teenager now, and you know, and so walk me into this 13, because what I loved about what you said almost made me feel like that you all need to partner in some way in the future, because what you're doing through words, you know, and transforming young ladies' lives and empowering them every day, and what you're doing through the actual transforming an environment to reflect the elegance within, I would love to see those two marry. So after they go through, you know, in the future, as God leads you, when that manifests, that when the everyday mentor comes, I would love in some way to see that rites of passage comes through an elegant manifested event. I would love to see that. I would love to see the Big Ma's and the Mud Deers and, you know, Auntie Berta's and Auntie Lee and all of those, you know. And then everybody has an Auntie Brenda somewhere. You know, everybody got an Auntie Brenda. You don't got an Auntie Brenda? We related. Now you got my Auntie Brenda. All right?
Right.
So to see the older generation, because what I put down is I said, how important is mentoring to the success of Generation Z? Tasha, I pitched that to you because with you being in media and fashion and so much of that driving the way that people see themselves, because they didn't have a Madeira to say, I don't care if she weighs 85 pounds, you're going to eat these greens anyway. You know, I don't care if, you know, whatever happens. But like the self-image was based upon what was spoken to you as a young person. But now, because of the absence of the Madeiras and the Big Ma's, they're having to grasp from the media. And grasp, you know, their phone. So how do you plan on, or what are you doing to like shape and influence media and fashion that is transforming people's lives?
By being myself.
Okay.
Because that's the only thing you can do is be you.
Okay.
And, I mean, and that's easier said than done, because a lot of us, we say, oh, just be you. But you really do have to walk in who you are, because nobody can mimic you. Like, that's the only gift you got, is to be yourself. So, I mean, it took me a while to learn that, because you're trying to, well, who am I? Like the Clutch Girl. Like,
Right.
I created that in 2014.
Okay.
And then Detroit Talk TV came like 2016. But then when I dismantled Detroit Talk TV, and I'm like, well, who am I? So the Clutch Girl is kind of like, I'm not going to say my alter ego, but it's just the girl who wants to grasp, seize, and embrace her life. So I looked up Clutch, like, what does that mean? And that's the exact definition. So you just got to grasp who you are and walk in that. So even if it's fashion or something, you don't have to wear a mini skirt. You don't have to wear booty shorts and tight fitting clothes. You just dress up what you have, and people will see that. If you walking in who you are, somebody, like you were saying, some young girl, they'll look at you and say, oh my God, you just carry yourself in such a magnificent way that it's just, how do you do that? And it's just being you. That's the best way I can put it. And you can't look at everything you see on social media, because everything is cultivated. So people cultivate their social media platforms. Like, if someone sitting around taking photos and they compile all these photos and then choose to ration them out when they want to. So everything is not what it seems to be. So media is what a storyteller wants you to believe.
Oh, wait a minute. That's powerful. Let's coin that. Somebody put that in the comments.
That's from
media
Latasha, you
from
know.
Latasha. Yeah. Make sure
Give
you
the proper credit.
Make sure you put down Latasha Chanel Spivey, the Clutch Girl. You said media
Is what the storyteller wants you to believe.
Is
So
what
even when I was doing reporting, so
Okay.
if I'm go out and I come do a story about this, what we're doing right now, I'm gonna get the story, and then my narrative is what I created. So the way I tell the story is the way that everybody else is gonna portray it. So even 2, 4, and 7, they just portraying stories and telling stories that the way the reporter gets it. So it may be you reporting facts, but it still can be changed in a way to distort someone's image or something. Like, even if a photograph, you know how you crop people out and you like, that's not what that photograph was supposed to mean. It's
Right.
still the way the storyteller presents it to you.
So let's do this now. I'm going to put you on the spot. Don't think I didn't forget
No,
to come
she
back
was
to
on
you.
the spot.
Oh, yeah. No, I'm coming. I didn't forget. Trust me. I didn't forget. So, Tasha, if you were to break down this narrative as the reporter, we'll just say this is the Drawing Board Nation TV. Let's do with that, okay? So this is Drawing Board Nation TV. How would you break down and tell this event? Listen, we're going live right now to the Clutch Girl, Latasha Chanel Spivey. She's reporting from the Drawing Board Nation. They're live right now. To Tasha we go. Tasha.
Where's my pen and paper? Because this is why I write.
Okay. Well, no, I'm saying that's good. So let's walk through the process. So you write. You get.
Well, I like writing more so than being on camera. I thought
Okay.
I wanted to be on camera, but that's a longer story to tell. But I would just interview each person, write down who's here.
Okay.
Right. I would probably describe the room, green and black, the microphones that's in here, to give a person a visual if I'm not actually videotaping, to give a person a visual of everything that's going on. Tell your story, and of course my story, and just take it from there. Like, we started, we sat down, we drank coffee and water, and just describe everything as it's going on.
Okay, so I
So,
mean, I want you
the
to do
sto-
it though. Go ahead,
No.
do it, Tosh. Let's go, Tosh. Let's
Why would you
go.
put me on the spot?
Because
I got to start all over.
Yeah.
I walked in the door.
All right, here we
and
go. Go.
I walked in the door and there was only Ebron. That's what I call him. I'm sorry. I don't call you by your first name.
That's fine.
And I'm sorry. Okay, I know your name. The everyday mentor
Yes.
was sitting at the table with the engineer, and a guy kept walking back and forth. He asked Ebron to sign a paper. He didn't sign it. He asked for it electronically, and we got water sitting here. Yeah, this feels so weird. Like, oh my
It's
God.
okay. No, this is okay. So, hey, this is like in the rawest form. She didn't know she was going to have to do
Right,
this.
right.
But what
Now
I
I'm
what,
being a reporter.
Yeah, but
again.
the reason I did that though is that some young person or somebody who's seeing you do this in the same way that you heard Mason in the morning, and you when he said that you needed to do something, you said, well, what do I? To see it in front of you and to see it happening and to see that there is a process to becoming, that media agent, that news reporter, and to see it in live action, like, oh, okay, no, they didn't. They don't just show up on the mic and say, "Thank you for tuning in to Channel 2." No, they don't.
It's a whole process.
It's a whole process. So if somebody wanted to get into that, you just sufficiently supplied them the motivation to accomplish their goals. And so now what we're going to do is talk about how the imagination plays into seeing a bigger picture. So it's the 13th birthday party. All right, Tasha has just reported what's happening with the Drawing Board Nation. Now we're going live to the scene where you've decorated. Take us in, Miss Helena. What do you see?
Okay. Well, being a teacher of, middle school students for so long,
Okay.
I do, one of the things that I would love to do for 13-year-old girls is to make them feel like a princess.
Okay.
One thing that I remember about your daughter that I thought stood out so much to me, as she was quiet, and I realized how she was quiet, but I also know that she's a musician. So
Absolutely.
I remember that about her. So I would definitely want it to be music playing in the background, softly violin, the violin music as she's walking in, because we want there to be a crowd
do
of
you hear that
people
music?
waiting there for
Yes.
her.
Uh-huh.
We want there to be a crowd of people. So we want some soft violin music playing while she enters the room, makes her grand entrance. I don't know her favorite color, but I'm going to go ahead and say red because I just want to say that.
Okay.
So we're going to let her walk in.
Right. That was a little bit of that was a Delta play right
that's
there.
a little-
Okay.
yeah, So we're going to let her go ahead and walk in the red carpet.
Okay.
Because that does signify royalty. So we're going to let her walk in on the red carpet
I'm there.
and let her be by herself as she walks down and have the stanchions that cut off the rest of the room so that everything is focused on her. So, and when she walks in, before she walks in, she goes through beautiful pipe and drape.
Oh, wow.
That is done so that she walks through there. And then she's going into her space. Into the back of the room, she's going to clear the whole room, and so there is a canopy with a throne chair waiting for her on the other side of the room. There's also different balloons that are music notes that are around. I see someone playing a violin as she comes through so that they can see it. Everyone can see this princess coming in. And so as she goes to her chair, everyone is on and on. And then she has all the different colors. We're going to say red and white. And they're going to be around.
Right.
Just to set the atmosphere.
Right.
Red, white, and silver, just to set the atmosphere. And it's just going to be different soft sequins, different, Shivari chairs so that everyone could be there. We want her family up front and center, to welcome her as her friends welcome her. And that's kind of what I see right now.
Awesome. So listen, I know you all saw that with me. Did you see that? I saw that.
I saw the
Yeah,
stanchions.
I saw it.
You saw the stanchions. You saw
The
like
red
the canopy.
carpet.
Right, you saw the canopy.
It was
yes.
beautiful, and that is what you get when you get an elegance manifested
Oh,
experience.
Yeah, I had to know. So I knew a little bit about her and just know a little bit about you. I could take that and use the gift God gave me to transform it.
And so you all heard that here. Now, while we're here in that moment where we're, hearing the violins playing and the notes are on the wall and they just happen to be wearing red and white.
Right.
Yeah, tell them where they can go ahead and tap into your information.
Oh, sure. We would love for you guys to look us up on Instagram,
Okay.
Elegance Manifested. We are also on Facebook
Okay.
under the same name. And you can see some of our work. You can talk to us. There's a number there on both of those pages to be able to contact us. We love to talk with you. So, yeah, that's a good place to find us.
Okay, great. And while we're doing that, the Everyday Mentor, Tanea Hunter, where can they find you?
I am on Facebook, Tanea Nikki Hunter, and then on Instagram as the Everyday Mentor.
Okay, great. Latasha, where can we find you?
Where can you not find me?
Where can we not find you?
My Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter will be Latasha Spivey, Latasha C. Spivey, and then I just started a Clutch Girl Instagram, so that is the Clutch period girl. So,
The Clutch period girl.
no, the period Clutch period girl.
Okay.
So I had to separate it because somebody, always using a name that you want.
Okay.
And I don't like underscores and periods, but I had to get over that and insert them in my hash, what do you call them, little
Username?
usernames. Yeah.
Okay,
That's
gotcha.
what we live by now.
So as we've dove into like your motivation, your different giftings, to profess and proclaim and to motivate, to be able to teach young girls to seize, to grasp,
Embrace.
and to embrace who they are authentically, because you can only live out your life authentically as who you've created to be, living from the inside out rather than living from outside in.
That was
And
a
then
word.
that leads you to a point of transformation.
Yeah.
And it not just leads you to be a young lady or a young man or a woman or a man, but someone of elegance, someone who can manifest who they are. Let's talk about these bigger pictures, because everybody wants something bigger. Everybody wants something better. Everybody wants to grow. Everybody wants increase. Everybody wants empowerment. I asked somebody one time, I said, in this moment, what are you getting ready to do that you would need empowerment? Because a person who's going nowhere and doing nothing may not need empowerment at that moment. I know you're thinking, well, if they may need empowerment. I saw you thinking. If they're not doing anything, they may need to be empowered to get, off of their duff
Yeah.
to do something.
Right.
I get that, but I'm saying those who, because I believe everything is reduced in its lowest common denominator of something called a decision. And so life does take us up and down in some places, but I believe that we have to get to a point where we go beyond motivation, where we
Yes.
go beyond empowerment. And I believe that place is called a land of decision. Because after you've been motivated, after you've been empowered, you have to bring that to some tangible resources and do something about what it is that you're feeling. So here are some things that I know that as we approach this topic of bigger, the chapter starts off like this. It says, overwhelmed, stressed, exhausted, frustrated, hopeful. Have you ever experienced these emotions based upon the weight of life's responsibilities and possibilities? Like, have you ever felt the tug of what could be versus what you're currently doing? Like, I'm talking to visionaries here.
Yeah.
And so one of the things that pains the visionary is that you go into, I would say, go into the spirit or what it is that you believe, and you can see it. I mean, you can see it crystal clear. I mean,
Yep.
you see yourself on all of the media
Right.
platforms. You see yourself standing on stages with thousands of young people, and then going down into to groups. It's almost like, after somebody's come to Christ, they need that teaching and training. And that's where you come in with that teaching and training and helping young people to manifest who they are, not just getting that generic word, but a specific word that comes to them. And then teaching people, hey, if you're going to do it big, and being able to see beyond the current limitations of what their future has, what people have said their future is. Like, you feel that tug. So now what do we do? I remember you talked about, you said you went through some health challenges, right? And so it seems like health challenges come at a time where you were getting ready to thrust forward.
I thought that it was so ironic because the network marketing company I was with, I told my husband, like, this is it. I'm going full force. I was working with teams and doing different things. And then, like, literally August 30th, 2016, stonewalled. Just stonewalled. And then it was how the Everyday Mentor unofficially was born. I'm thinking, I can't do what I'm trying to do. Like, I'm trying to do this over here. And then this just was birth. It evolved from that. I'm thinking, wow. here I am laid up. I can't do anything, but yet I'm encouraging, yet I'm, mentoring. And nobody knew and no shade to anybody else. I'm just not one of those that's going to post on Facebook, hey, had surgery, doing this, doing that. So when people found out, like, wait a minute, like you were recovering and you were still like posting and mentoring, it's one of those things where it was actually birthed through the health challenge. And to me, it seems like it brought forth something greater. It sprung forth something greater because of even just some of the things that God did through me and for me through the health challenge.
Yeah, it sounds like you repurposed that pain.
Yeah.
So tell me in that moment, so 2016, bam, Stonewall, take me to that moment. Like, what did you feel in that moment? Because somebody is at that moment right now, Stonewall. What did you feel?
I literally told my husband, I said, God has hijacked my life. As if I actually like was in control of it anyway, but some ridiculous way I thought that I was like, oh, I'm doing this. Like, I know this person, I'm doing this. And I kept telling him, I said, God has like hijacked my life. And he said, stop saying that. He was like, it was never your life. It was never yours. So what came was actually a surrender, because I was trying to just do so much on my own. And I'm thinking like, okay, God, I see this. Come on, you come with me. But he's like, yeah, I showed you that, but it wasn't for tomorrow. It wasn't for next week. It's like, okay, I'm just going to keep letting you run. And, when you're ready, I'm standing right here. But I literally hit the wall and I was like, okay, I'm yours. I'm done. So however you want to do this. And even coming here tonight, I was like, God, in my mind, I'm thinking, okay, it's going to go like this. He's going to ask me this. And he just said, be you. He said, just be you. He was like, nothing else. This is exactly what I want. He said, this time you're going to do it my way.
Amen.
I said, oh, okay, because I can admit that's something that I have not done when it comes to like ideas and things that I've had. I figure I'm kind of smart. You gave me the intelligence. So let's run and do it this way. And he said, no, we're going to do it this way. So a surrender came at that moment.
Wow.
Right. So what I'm thinking about now, sitting here, it's almost like confluence where two different rivers actually meet up. And so where what you intended and what he planned actually came to a crossroads. Not that he needed the illness to have that surrender, but when he gave you the opportunity to surrender, you took it. And look how many, had you not begun the unofficial, the everyday mentor, how many people would not have been inspired? How many people would not have been motivated? What would have been their outcome had they not had that, God used you to inject that word at that moment? And so these are things that we have to consider when, some of us are just gifted with the ability or called to suffer for Christ's sake. And so clearly, he looked before him. He saw the joy that was set before him. Watch this, enduring the cross. All right. Watch this, though. Despising the shame. So, yeah, no, you didn't want to go through that. But that activity brought a surrender. And now we're looking at the everyday mentor. Oh, hashtag bars. Let's do it. Hashtag bars. Bars. All right? Yeah, bars. Somebody go ahead and put the little cornball message right there. I felt you. It's okay. I felt it, though. I was flowing. Don't get me started. No, but, and so to Helena, when you started your business, when you were looking at having a bigger picture, now what you're doing as a teacher is a very honorable profession. So I'll stop right now on behalf of everybody in the world, say thank you for being a teacher and an educator, near and dear. And if we don't have teachers, we won't be taught.
That's true.
If we don't have teachers, we won't grow. If we don't have teachers, the opportunity that exists before us will not be exposed, because you do that job of cultivating those raw materials. And sometimes, when you're doing, let's just say, the potter and the clay, it's some shards of glass, it's some shards of other metal objects, other things that are actually cutting you while you're trying to mold, and you continue to do that. But God expanded. I love you said by profession you're a teacher, but you're a decorator by gift. Break it down. I know you sat down and thought about that for a while. So what does that mean?
Well, I do believe that teaching is a gift too. So I don't want to, discount that.
Okay.
But I do know that, and it's just so amazing to me what she said, because that kind of what happened in my life, because I was teaching in Inkster Public Schools, and when Inkster Public Schools closed down, and my husband and I both were teaching there.
Okay.
And it kind of, when it came to a close, it kind of hit everybody like a smack in the face. And so even though I don't believe that was what God wanted for all of that to happen, but I do know that there are different things that happen in your life that God will make for you to turn to a way that he's turning you to.
Absolutely.
So I don't believe that I ever would have done this had it not been for that, because I had a girlfriend who taught next door to me who would come in there. You know how we call each other, your last name. Williams,
Right.
what you gonna do? They laying off people, because I was one of the, last people to be hired. Like, they laying off people, what you gonna do? What you gonna do? I'm like, I don't know, Jesus. And I'm just thinking about it. But as that time went on, then God began to breathe that into me. And then the whole decorating bit, and then the name, and then doing some things, towards that. So that's kind of how all of it got started, and how I kind of, realized, even though I've always known that I've had the gift to do, I would always do things in my hands. I went to school, and this is what I decided to do. And then God just kind of put me in a position to where this is it. So when you're saying like bigger, that I started this in 2013. And then, and that's why I said I lean on that scripture, what I'm saying, that your gift will make room for you, and God will put you in front of great men.
That's right.
With the gift. So in 2013 I started the decorating, and then I went through thinking like, well, I can, I would go and decorate different places, different halls, and I say, well, Lord, why don't I have a hall? And so after that, by 2016, I opened a hall, and I still have my hall.
Okay, where is that at? Go ahead, give us the address.
Oh, sure. Let me go ahead. 968 North Newburgh.
All right, and
in
if we
Westland, Michigan.
in Westland, if we want to rent that out, how do we contact you?
Please go into our website, affairsbyelegance.com, and you can get our phone number, and our phone number is 734-725-5866.
Excellent. Hold your next event at
Right.
Affairs by Elegance.
We would love to host your next event. So,
Absolutely.
So that helped, with the bigger too. So I saw then that gift made room for me. And so even though I have a degree in English and everything, and I started looking at the Word of God and studying it more, didn't necessarily say my degree will make room for me. He said my gift will make room. My gift will make room for me.
Absolutely.
So my gift has been making room, and that's how I'm seeing the bigger, and so that's where with your chapter, your book, that's why I get to see the bigger, and then you get the frustration, like you said, and then the hope, because you're like, oh God, how I'm gonna do this, but Lord, you're bringing me here, and so I understand exactly what you're saying. All at one time, I can have all those emotions in a range of 2 minutes.
Absolutely.
What I'm saying, when you're thinking about the bigger.
Right. But the great thing is that when you persevere and press on, and that we learn to think beyond our emotions, we get a chance to inherit the promise.
Amen.
Because so many people, I can hear you now, like, I want to start this business, but I don't have the finances. I'm at a crossroads in my life, and I feel a certain way about it. And sometimes, especially when, watch this, the Inkster public school system closing down had nothing to do with you personally. But something was happening on a grander scale that impacted you. And it could have made you bitter. And I can hear all my church folks, go ahead and say it. Bitter and not better. Okay, switch out the letter. There you go. All right. And while you were testifying, sharing your story, it reminded me, said, I could hear a preacher hooping. What you thought was a setback.
Yes.
God had it as a setup. Watch this, for a what? For a comeback. Yeah, there you go. All right, yes. I need a Hammond B3 right in here with me right now. And so, Tosh, when we talk about setups and setbacks and comebacks and all of these different things, like, walk us through that journey, because from what you hear from each person here, myself included, that there was like almost like a cliffhanger moment where it was like, I'm out here, Lord. I had this planned. This happened. I still need to provide for my family. I need to do this and that. But, Lord, I know, not that I guess, I know there's a bigger picture.
Right.
I can hear you. You probably a Mary fan. He didn't bring you this far to leave you.
You got to put that on.
Yeah, I know. Look, I can
Okay,
see
let me
Tasha
listen to
now in
something
the
that's
car,
gonna
too.
motivate me.
In the car with the tears coming down, trusting God. I know you didn't bring me this far. just to leave me,
I
right?
think that's everybody had that like little moment.
Okay.
I think it came like 2016. I graduated from Wayne State.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, so I know I got this broadcasting degree. Boom, I'm about to just have a job on Channel 2 or something.
Blow up.
This is what I'm thinking. Like, I'm about to have this great job. Then no, June come. I was like, I'm gonna move to North Carolina. So I moved to North Carolina with my dad. That was in June. I moved back in July. So,
Okay.
end of July, I was back in Detroit. Yeah, 30 days. Yeah.
Right.
Long story.
Okay.
So I get back and I'm like, okay, so what am I supposed to do? I don't have no degree. I don't have no job offers. And I said, well, I'm just going to do it myself. And I sat down with a piece of paper and I'm like, okay, Jesus, what is it that you want me to do? Like, why did I do all this to not have anything?
Right.
So the Detroit Talk just came to me. Like, I was looking for a name and the Detroit Talk came up. I'm like, well, I can hire people and have a talk show. I want to be on TV. I want to put some on TV. Everything that I wanted to do, I put people on TV, 3 hosts on a talk show. I didn't pay them not $1. They did it. I didn't have no money. So money just, God put it in my pocket to pay for airtime on television. So I had 3 shows on television. Then that wasn't working out. Then I said, okay, well, I'm going to just take it to the streets and do it myself and get out here with a microphone and a camera person. My camera girl, I didn't pay her not no money. Shout out to Lanice, the camera girl.
Lanice, camera girl, no money, still did it. Hold it down. Yes, that's called no new friends. We got to make sure we link up with people who see the vision,
Right.
and the resources will come.
She came to we was everywhere in the city of Detroit talking to people and just doing it. And then, I don't know, the ball just dropped. And that was 2016, 2017. And then I sat in the corner for a long time and the Clutch Girl popped back up. Like, well, you created this. Why are you not doing anything with it? And you like to write. Like
Okay.
I said, the being on TV was just like I think it was vanity that I wanted, but it didn't do nothing for me. Like, it didn't fulfill me to be on TV. Even though people would say, oh, my God, you pretty. Why you don't want to be on TV? And you like, it doesn't do anything for me. But I can put somebody else on TV. I'm fulfilled if I'm putting somebody else on TV or I'm telling a story from behind the scenes. So that's where I'm at now.
Okay, that's good. So is The Clutch Girl, is that a book? Is that coming out?
Oh, my God, it's going to be a book one day.
It's one day. I always tell people, I say it in all my talks, I say, when someone hasn't started writing on it when they tell you what? That I'm working on it, all right?
Well, I guess I write it every day because if I'm making blog posts, right now it's a blog, so
Where can we find this blog at?
theclutchgirl.com.
Theclutchgirl.com. Make sure you go check out that blog. What do you talk about on your blog?
Everyday things. Like
what?
one day I was headed to my interview for a job and my car just
Wait a minute. I heard the motivation for my job. Yes. No, I didn't want to go. No. Yes.
my boss might be watching. Hold on.
It's okay. Well, listen, but here's the thing. The only reason I paused you right there is because there's somebody who feels like, oh, right now I need to be pursuing this, when like that will come. Sometimes you have to go back to the drawing board.
Oh my God,
Work
that was
it-
a
listen.
word. I need some
Work this. Use those resources. Watch this. Study what they're doing. Sometimes be willing to make less and get an experience. Oh, I know. Trust me. Listen, you talking about. If I gave you some numbers about when I had to go back to the drawing board, degreed and all of this, and what was coming up in that paycheck?
Yeah.
My God. But it opened a bigger door. And so I want to not overlook the fact that you had a dream, you set some goals, you did what Habakkuk said, which is actually the verse that I use at the beginning of this chapter: write the vision, make it plain, so they that see it may run with it. Said the vision, though it tarry, it won't tarry, wait on it, for the vision shall speak and it will not lie. All of these things that are in the word. You said that you wanted to be on TV and that you wrote it down. You got 3 hosts. You were on TV, under-resourced, but you made it happen, watch this, with no money.
Yeah.
So this is for those who say, I have this dream, but right now I don't have any money. Latasha Spivey, the Clutch Girl, is removing every one of your excuses.
Yeah,
She had no money. She ended up getting 3 hosts. They were on TV. Something didn't work out. She didn't stop. She had Lanice. Shout out, no money, Lanice. You probably rolling in the dough right now. I know, Lanice. Listen, whatever you do for others, is particularly from your heart, you will never lose. You can only be taken advantage of when you say that person has taken advantage of you, because your reward comes from God. Now, if you're doing it to be men pleasers and doing it for men, well, that's your reward. But if you're literally doing it from a well-intended place, no matter what somebody does, they can never take advantage of you, because you will reap what it is that you sow. So, Tasha, as you were on your way to the interview for your job.
For my job.
Yeah.
Like, that was a moment.
Okay.
Something fell from the bottom of my car. I don't know what it was. I'm like, oh, my God, I'm not going to be able to get to this interview on time. Then I'm riding on the freeway. It's like sparks flying. So I'm calling my mom. I'm like, where's the nearest? I was in Hamtramck. I'm like, where's the nearest mechanic? And she was like, I don't know. It's mechanics all over Hamtramck. Just find one. So I pull up to this shop, and I was like, something fell from the bottom of my car. It's like I had to be there at, I think, 9 o'clock. It's like 8:50 right now. So
Wow.
I'm like, okay, listen here, Jesus. I know I need this job, so something got to happen. I get to the mechanic. He was like, pull the car on the hoist. He pulled it up. He was like, zip, zip, zip. I said, okay, how much do I owe you? You take credit cards? He like, yeah, but you good. I'm like, are you serious? Okay, I'm like, thank you, Jesus. Okay, I hop on the Davidson. I get to my job
Right.
at 9:05. Like, I'm late. So that's the type of things I wrote about. So I'm saying, like, facing adversity. Because
Right.
I could have just stopped and cried like I probably would have did in the past. Like, oh, my God, this is not going to work out. But I kept going and kept going. So those type of things or events that happen, it's like the adventures of my life.
Okay.
I just write about it.
So can I position that? I want to position that from two perspectives, right? So we talk about adversity, right? But when you are a child of the Most High God, in the midst of adversity, favor shows up, right? And so, like, if you think about it, we can, especially if we're talking about a media person, like when they were talking about Katrina, when it was a Caucasian family, they said they were looking for food for their family. When it was a black family, they said that they were looting, right? So now when we're looking at our life, we can look at that like, oh man, that's why she shouldn't have been going to that job anyway.
Right.
I can hear some people saying that, like, that's why she shouldn't have done that. On the converse side, you were pursuing and moving forward because you had things to do for your family. And so the favor of God kicked in. You were in, watch this, uncharted territory.
Right.
You didn't know where to go. You called a person who you thought could give you some wisdom. The wisdom was, get to where you need to get to, no matter where it is. Get in there. It's mechanics everywhere. Right? And so that wisdom came, watch this, gave you confidence to go into a place you didn't even know. And was like, yo, hey, something fell from my car. Now, going into a mechanic shop
Right.
with that kind of description can generally lead to a $1,500, $2,000. Oh, listen, your whole car is falling apart at the bottom. You're going to need every new part on the bottom of here. It's going to take us about 3 weeks, and then we have to
Right.
charge you for a fee every day. But what happened was the favor of God showed up, got you together, and in less than 15 minutes, what looked like was going to keep you from getting to your destination to accomplish your goal of acquiring that job, God answered.
Yes, amen.
That's powerful, right?
Yeah,
And
like
so-
when you say it, yeah.
No, but I'm saying, like, of course the experience of it sucked. Like, let's just be real.
Right.
To experience that sucked. I know. I went through that before. I was going to get a job. Watch this. You're talking about degree. The job was paying maybe $30,000. And so I was like, oh, man. And I was coming from some different numbers. But, I needed to go. Watch this. Get ready to turn into the parking lot. The whole power steering and the shaft and now it was 2008. So this is like 2011. So the car is only 3 years old. So it's not like I wasn't in. I know somebody said, oh, he was probably in a beater. No, I wasn't. All right. And when I get ready to turn into the parking lot, the whole shaft thing just dropped from the car. I'm in the middle of the street in Grosse Pointe. Okay. And so this is what I did. I know y'all probably gonna laugh. I called a tow truck. And I left that car in the middle of the street and went in for the interview.
Oh, that's what I want to do.
I did. And I went in there.
We'll work it out.
And I went through the whole interview. The tow truck man calling. I'm like, I can't leave right now. You're going to have to wait,
Right.
And then when I finished, got everything taken care of, was able to get things done, was able to converse with the gentleman. And he knew at that point, like, Ebron, I know that you're going to qualify for something greater than this. So I'm not going to waste your time. I'm not going to waste my time. And then that's when I had that conversation with him. I don't know if you all know that story I tell, but I was a little upset because I needed a job. And so I kind of slammed my hand on the desk a little bit. You know how it is when you get a little frustrated. And I was like, listen, I need a job. You need an employee. Let's make this happen. And he was like, let me tell you, I would, but I know that as soon as something greater comes along, you're going to leave. And I would expect you to. But at that point, I just was sharing the fact that I also had the car trouble like you had. But thank God yours worked out a little better than mine, all right? And so at this time, when we're thinking about bigger, and we have about 6 minutes left, I want to talk about 5 minutes left. I want to talk to you all about I'm throwing my first conference this year. So I am hosting my first conference. It's going to be called, I can do you now. It's going to be in lights. And no, it's going to be called the Drawing Board Experience. I'm going to have 6 power-packed impact speakers. They're going to come forth. They will each share the stage for 10 minutes only. So you have to come with I told them, I said, come with your hottest 10 minutes, whatever story you're going to tell, because people, they get motivated, but you can't keep them there all day because motivation is like gas. People, once you run it out of the car, then it's like I'm back in the same place again. So you got to come with your stories. I have an artist that's coming, and he's going to be painting a picture the entire hour that the show is actually going on. So you'll be able to see him painting or being at the drawing board while the conference is going on. My daughter is going to be the violinist for the day. I'm getting a step team coming in just to kind of provide a well-balanced experience and just really an extension of me. If you know anything about me, I love to dance. I love to have fun. Some of you all saw the little funny post when I was up there, gigging a little bit. And for those who I grew up with in Fort Wayne, Indiana, they were commenting, now this is the Andre we know. This is what we remember. But just providing that well-balanced experience. And I'll have vendors there where people can go from motivation to actualization in that same experience where you can get motivated and then you can come out and get the resource that's necessary to get started. So I finish with this, and I always say that your future is not behind you. And your future is not before you, but your future is within you. The gifts that you spoke of, the adversity and the favor of God that you spoke of, the ability to proclaim and profess, no matter if you get stonewalled or not, that you redirect and you repurpose that pain and that you use it to motivate, encourage, and empower somebody else. So this is the Drawing Board Experience. You can catch Andre Ebron here every Tuesday night from 7 p.m. to 8 p.m. Ladies, thank you all for coming on. We've had an awesome time. And where can they find you again? Last round?
I'm on Facebook, Tanea Nikki Hunter, and on Instagram, The Everyday Mentor.
I'm on Instagram, Elegance Manifested, as well as Facebook at Elegance Manifested.
And I'm Latasha C. Spivey, the Clutch Girl. You can look it up.
All right, listen. All right, so listen, God bless you all. Stay warm out there. Yes. 30 or 40 below. Make sure you get somewhere that's warm, watch this, and familiar. Your own house, okay? Yeah. Get to your own house. Well. Praise the Lord. No, all right. God bless y'all. Have a great evening.
All right, mics are off. Give me a minute to end the video. Video has ended.
Did you say get to your own house?
Get to your own house. Yeah,